go. Time for another sprint zone. This one's taking a little while, but we have an extra special treat. We have two cameras, actually three counting mine. So I'd like to thank Ron Kennedy at this time and Scott Pollia for their not only video and the telemetry, as this was a good one. So we're heading up County Road 5. Pretty well ordered. I think life is good here. It's, well, about as best as we can actually expect from the group. Some people not quite in line, but this isn't horrible. Looking up front, we're just picking up some of the Pro-Velo team riders who have dropped off the TTH to come join us. And up front, we're keeping a steady tempo, reasonable watts as we head into the sprint zone. Heart rate 104, that's good for me. Looks like Scott, 30-second power, 171. Not certain what's up with that. Maybe he was doing some intervals or something before he got to us. Ron's power's looking good. Heart rates are looking good. And we see up in the upper left-hand corner the video from Mr. Kennedy. Thank you, Ron, for that one. It will be interesting near the end when I'm not there. Heading into the actual beginning of the melee, we slow down, and as the rules of engagement state, we must wait until everyone is around the corner for this one. Looking rearward there, people are leisurely coming around the corner. You know, if this were one of the faster rides, SOAR, TTH, whatever, WAR, there's that accordion effect, and we do not want to have that affect the melee, because it just starts to escalate into people fighting for the front just to get that extra bit of advantage. Everyone's looking pretty comfortable here. People sitting in. I mean, there's a little bit of lethargy. Like, no one really wants to do anything. There's a good shot of Scott there, looking strong in his new kit. I must have a shout out to him. He has been most successful in his first season of racing. In fact, I do not believe he has finished off of the podium in his first three races. Very impressive, Scott, and happy to say that you are amongst us, representing not only your team, but the TFR folks. Sitting up front, we got two of the stronger teams on this ride, Pro-Velo and Rio. Got Don doing the puppy paws there. I don't know, it's a band thing in racing. Seems to me that, well, if you're one of the stronger guys, you should be actually getting some extra work up there, because the draft behind that puppy paw thing isn't spectacular, just saying. But it looks like it is Elisa behind you, so, well, if you want to short her, you guys can talk about that in private and a team meeting of some sort. Anyway, looking strong there, and the wattage isn't super high. My 32nd, 145, Scott's 190 something. Looks like Ron's 190 something, and we're creeping up here, like instantaneous watts. We're getting a little bit higher. You know, this is kind of a deceptive little grade. I think it's between like 1.5%, 2%, but it can take some of the sauce out of your legs. Coming over the top, at least there's a chance to get a little bit of respite here. And you can see in Ron's camera, like me off there a little bit as I head to the front here. You know, it's time to actually do a little something, because no one wants to seem to come to the work here. And there's a good shot of Kerry looking strong there. Shout out to him. He's been, you know, a core member of the TFR for many years, and he's come back to the fold, you know, representing right on my wheel. So I'm trying to keep things honest here. Speed is reasonable because nobody else wanted to go to the front. Because it's, for me, it's about getting in some interval work. It's about getting a workout. I don't really need to feed my ego and actually contest for the sprint here. That'd be a whole different animal if I'd actually paid money to do this little contest, but I have not. So I'm working hard. You know, heart rate 171, which usually would be over my limit, but like I keep saying, after the COVID, mine's gone up a little bit. But I'm still working hard. Looks like a good shot of Isla there off in the main screen, off to the left a little bit, hanging in here. And there's a tiny bit of a headwind, so it is keeping the group together. No one looking to do anything yet, and I have been out here for a while. Heart rate 172, and you can see that where Ron and Scott are sitting in, heart rates 123, 123. Their heart rates are pretty much mirroring each other, and that just shows what kind of savings you can get when you are in the draft. Now I'm getting myself a little bit of respite, but I do not want to fall too far back, and this is where having a team would help. You know, you do work on the front, and then none of the wheel suckers want to let you back in, so you get like scraped off to the back. And just a word to the wise, if in fact we were racing, I'd be a lot more aggressive here, and there might be some shoulder rubbing to gain my rightful spot, because if I'm willing to do work, I need to be up with the big men, not with the wheel suckers, or as I like to say, the NPCs, because basically, well, they're NPCs. Good looking shot here as I tuck in here. Looking good. My heart rate up to 174 as somebody has like punched it. Even Ron and Scott. Interesting that their heart rates are pretty close. I hope I got the right data there for that. Maybe I didn't. In any case, looks like everybody's tucked in here, and I don't think anybody really wants to do any work today. Like, people are just happy to sit in. Oh, looks a good shot of Mike and his son Jeremy back there hanging it. And then as Rob, it looks like Balm fading off the back there in a tiny bit of a selection here with the group. Got Tony Riccio on the white off on the right-hand side, and there is wind coming from the right. So if you are out there, you are basically bleeding off energy, but I thank him and Greg for giving me some shelter. Even though my heart rate hasn't come down that much, but it is slowly coming down. This little grade coming up is going to be a punchy little one, and this is where everyone kind of slows down a little bit, sits in, tries to recover, and you can see my heart rate's come down to 166 because what we want to do is save something for this little punchy section. This is one of the places where if you are up front and if you do not like the size of the crowd, you want to create a selection here. And the watts increase. Everybody bunched up here. No one is weak at this point. And it looks like I kind of coast up to the rear here. It's like, I don't know what people are doing here. It's good, but it's not good. And my heart rate, it's high. Do I want to be out front? No. But it just seems like, you know, when the supers were here, it was strung out. And there's like Scott up front waving people through. And he's one of the strong men here. He should be trying to make something happen here. Just sitting in and riding coattails to win against this group, it's like, well, been there, done that. You need to try to practice some of your race tactics and maybe see if you can create a selection here, because what you've done is brought wheel suckers to the line. And if I cared and if I focused on my type 2 fast twitch, because that is basically what I am, I could contest with this sprint. But I do not care to, and you do not want to bring me to the line. Okay, maybe you didn't want to bring 50-year-old self me to the line. 64-year-old self, yeah, you can tell me to the line. I'm probably not going to do that much. But at this point, even me, like, my heart rate is dropped to 157. Okay, this is like, at this point, I am looking to get out. I am looking to get out of this here cattle call, because the folks up front, no one wants to make anything happen. You know, and it's the kind of tactics I would expect in a race. But I also wouldn't want all these people with me either. And this is a chance to be able to separate folks. Oh, looks like there's a good shot of like Bill from the FCC Club, Fort Collins Cycling Club representing strong. Looks like Dustin back there. Rick sitting in there nicely. So everybody is here. No selection has been made, and this is not right. You know, at this point, I was hoping that there would be some sort of selection being made. People sitting in, and it's too easy. Me at a heart rate of 151. Average power for 30 seconds, 53 watts. Oh, there's no work being done here at all. And you can see the big men, Scott and Ron, with their 30-second powers, you know, 130, 112. You know, they are just resting up there. You know, maybe I should have asked Don for his power numbers, see what he was actually doing up there. I can't believe he was doing that much, because it is not strung out at this point. I'm looking to get out here because I haven't done anything. I feel guilty sitting in, as should everybody else. I mean, for me, it's not about ego or finishing with these people. I've finished with these people. I've won these things in the past. It's about getting some work in and making something happen. People just too complacent here. You know, Sometimes I like to have the supers and other times I don't. This is one of the times I'd like to have one of the supers here to keep people honest, because everybody here is strong enough like to sit in unless we get a rotation at the front. And this is what I really like to see. Like if I was racing, you don't want to have to control the race. Well, maybe you want to control it. And it looks like Provello is controlling this. You really want, if everybody's on different teams, to have a rotation here so that no one has all their bullets saved. And look at Scott. His bullets are saved. My bullets are saved at this point. If I was a little bit closer. No one wants to take over. And at this point, I've had enough of this shenanigans. It is time to go and make something happen here. People just sitting in. Big men sitting in. The strong sitting in. It just turns my stomach to a point. Like, we're here to work. We're not here just to make the sprint zone. Otherwise, we could just have the sprint zone start 50 yards in front and just have a big sprint. We need to have a selection start. And this is what I like to see here. And I am making this happen. 30-second power up to 360. Heart rate up to 175. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Even Scott and it looks like Ron are working. And now you see Ron's camera and the attack. And you see Scott's up there in the upper right. Everyone going hard. And it looks good. It looks like Ron has the lead there as I fade back as my work is done for the day. Heart rate up to 176. Happy about that. And you can see what that did right there. That shattered the people. And that's what I would have liked to have seen happen earlier. A smaller selection and let the big guns fight it out. There goes Tony, who was lamenting he took too much wind. And as a seasoned racer, look at that. Hey, Rick, that's yellow line violation. There's no reason you had to go that far around us. Bad habits, bad habits. I'm calling this shit out. Pardon my language for anybody who's got any of their children watching this one. Anyway, a good time was had by all. It looked like Don might have taken that one. I wasn't paying that much attention. I didn't really care so much. Could rewind and figure that one out. But that was nice. Good job, everyone. Good job. I wish more people would go to the front and go around like Don. But it looked like almost like team tactics there. You had Provello and Rio at the front controlling the tempo. And knowing that if, in fact, Scott was the strongest man, it was right for Kerry to go to the front and keep a reasonable tempo because Scott's going to take this one. Other people need to step up and do something here. In any case, nice job, Rio. Nice job, Provello, Don, Elisa looking strong, Scott looking strong, Ron looking strong. A good time was had by all. Peace out. Until next time, everyone. Yeah, lots of film here. We'll just kind of like fast forward this. Yep, there's a recovery. Peace out.